Good morning, everyone. Tony here. It is early. I'm trying to get woken up. There you go. I want to answer a question that came in. Now, this is a long question, lots of components. So I know you guys can't see my screen, but I'm just going to read and paraphrase for you. So I was being asked, hi, Tony, just watched some YouTube videos of yours, par, non-par, Medicare. Also watched the billing course from Patrick Toy and Alicia Johnson, and I need some help to make a decision. I initially wanted to be strictly self-pay cash-based, where I provide telehealth and mobile PT services, which is awesome. Like tons of people out there doing it more every day. But after discussing a few points with some therapists, felt encouraged to look into being a Medicare provider, also open to learning about how to deal with in and out of network relationships with commercial payers. I had to stop in my tracks while filling out the Medicare application. So many questions coming to mind. By the way, if you guys just want help on the Medicare enrollment, I've got a $10, $12 course on udemy.com where it'll walk you through the entire process. So I'll put a link to that in the description of this video. If I'm participating provider with Medicare, I'd like to make sure that I'm being reimbursed reasonably for the service I provide. So here's the deal for that. You don't get to choose what you're reimbursed, but obviously you get to see what you're reimbursed. So I've got another video on the channel showing you how to look up the Medicare physician fee schedule using the physician fee schedule lookup tool. You can see what manual therapy reimburses, massage therapy for your locale, because it's going to be a little different across different Medicare payers, Medicare Max. But you can make the decision before you enroll, especially if I'm traveling and taking the extra time and energy with the work to put in. So, this kind of touches on a huge topic for me. We have to understand third-party payers, Medicare, they're not really in the business. They're not really looking to work with providers like you, like me. They're looking to work with providers who can offer them and their beneficiaries the most economy of scale. So, it's one of those things where what does that mean? If let's take me, for example. Let's pretend I, as an employer, am looking to hire a therapist, right? There's going to be amazing therapists out there that have incredible skills that are going to be incredibly expensive. If I'm hiring a specialist, like you guys have seen my other videos where I talk about hiring a specialist to come in while I'm doing an initial evaluation for a patient that I'm not really familiar with the condition, I'm probably going to pay that therapist 100, 150 bucks for 20 minutes of their time. That's because it's such a specialized skill, and it's not something I'm going to use every single, session for my business. It's a one-time deal. That's you. You offer a premium level service, so don't look at a payer as your primary employer. It fills a role. It's got a specific place in your business model. Now, if I was running a, run-of-the-mill, pun intended, mill clinic, and my goal was high volume, high production, and I have a well-oiled machine with 100 clinics across the country and 1,000 therapists working for me, I can do high volume at low income, right? Because I'll still be profitable. But that's not the business model you're looking to provide. And so third-party payers, unless they fit a specific niche in your practice business model, it's just not going to work. So let me go back here. So this is, somebody who wants to be paid at a higher rate, which is totally reasonable for the service, especially the fact that they're going to be mobile going to the patient's home. On the cash side of things, I'll be doing 90-minute evaluations and treatments, right? So like that right there, it's like, I want to provide, which is well within your right, I want to provide a certain service but that's not necessarily what a payer is going to pay for. So this person wants 90-minute eval, 60-minute treatment follow-ups. The evals, since they will be 90 minutes, include treatment at a slightly higher rate, both for telehealth and in person. So far, the model that you want to create is an amazing model, but you haven't necessarily decided if you're going to integrate a third-party payer system into it, because you can't compare apples and oranges. If I'm participating with Medicare, do I have to cut my losses with the difference between the Medicare, what Medicare will pay, and my full rate? Yeah. So if you sign a contract to say you're going to be a Medicare provider, par or non-par, you're limited to how much you can collect from the beneficiary. And they go on to kind of cite an example, but it doesn't matter. If you sign a contract, you're limited to what the allowed amount is. And that's a choice you make. You make the choice to say, look, I'm gonna in exchange for more referrals and so higher volume and guaranteed payment, I'm gonna accept a lower rate, a discounted rate. I understand that I could also just not deal with Medicare. Deal with Medicare is probably not the right terminology. It's more like I could choose to work with Medicare, work for Medicare, or not. It's not really a matter of dealing with, and only treat patients who have Medicare if they don't have medically necessary needs, which is true. So Medicare beneficiary. And my guess, and this is the part that I feel like is falling through the cracks constantly. Most clinicians, PTOT, SLP, who are looking at building a cash-based self-pay practice, I would say most of the beneficiaries, the individuals who are coming to you willing to pay out of pocket, a lot of their services probably are not medically necessary. They're looking for performance. They're looking for wellness. They're looking for strength and conditioning and general, health and motivation and all of these great things that Medicare doesn't ever pay for anyway. Now, the eval, the plan, the goals, that is always a covered service. So you do have that roadblock with the mandatory claim submission law. But I would tell you, I think your target demographic isn't it is geriatrics with Medicare, but it's not covered services so much. So for wellness and fitness, etc., where I won't have to worry about the insurance, they would be able to pay me cash rates, correct? I also thought just about going that route, but since I'd like to support those with insurance, I always come back to considering being an enrolled provider. Yeah, I mean, it's a challenge. There's no doubt. Now, there's opportunities here within the gaps, I should say. She goes on, I also want to make sure that if I were to treat a Medicare for 90 minutes, the 90 minutes going by the 8-minute rule will still apply, and that I'll still treat them for a length of time. So I would tell you it depends on the services you're providing. You would have to go to the LCDs and other local rules to figure out if they're going to pay for more than 4 units, that kind of stuff. So this takes a lot more kind of detailed analysis. Being a non-par seems like it would be more of a hassle for the patient to have to pay up front. And like you mentioned, your videos may already give them red flags. Yeah, I just don't see any reason in the world to be non-par. The extra little percentage you're going to collect, I think, would be offset generally by losses in revenue, by lost patients, and there's a certain level of trust that you lose. We're almost done, guys. I guess another question outside of Medicare comes up is if I were to provide a super bill or a CMS 1500 for those with commercial insurance, can my fee schedule remain as is? My understanding is that I should have a breakdown of pricing. Yeah, so if you're going to bill out of network, you're going to provide a super bill. Each CPT code has to have an established fee schedule associated with it, your fee schedule. If you're going to collect payment at the time of service, you're able to provide what's called a prompt pay discount, And again, this starts getting in really deep. But if you do not accept assignment, these are non-Medicare individuals, patients without Medicare. You do not accept assignment. They do have out-of-network coverage. You do provide a super bill. I prefer a CMS 1500. You indicate what they actually paid on the super bill. If you're giving them a prompt pay discount to because they're paying you at the time of service, that's what they get. That's what they submit, or you can submit on their behalf. And if not, you can bill the individual your full rate. If you accept assignment for out of network, you're limited to what the payer allows. So there are some nuances there that would need to be discussed in more detail. All right, last paragraph. Please shed some extra light on these things. It'd be helpful and understand the numbers, especially Medicare, where losses, blah blah blah. The percentages get confusing. Okay, yeah. So I've got a video that fully explains like how to look up the Medicare allowed amounts, the Medicare fee schedules, the limiting charge. Go back, find those videos. The bottom line, if you are, oh great, I've got a couple of people watching. Which is faster? Random. Okay. So bottom line is, if you decide you're going to have something of a niche practice, something of a specialty, a manual-based therapy practice, trying to think of what else, like a pelvic floor practice, a neuro-based practice, something specialized, and you want to continue with the one-on-one service, and you want to continue with a premium experience and all of these things, you really have to look at third-party payers as a way to bring an individual into your bubble to get paid, even at a lower rate, get paid for the evaluation, the plan of care, the goals, the stuff that insurance was designed to pay for, but then have self-pay services that are available so that if you determine, hey, manual therapy, myofascial release, instrument assisted stuff is not medically necessary, dry needling, not medically necessary, but would be beneficial, you have something that you can offer to this individual for a self-pay rate. And that's where you kind of make up the difference, right? The alternative is you say, you know what, I'm not even going to contract with a payer. Okay. That kind of eliminates a certain pool of individuals that might be appropriate for your clinic, might want to buy the self-pay services. But that's the decision you get to make as the business owner. And that's the beauty. Like, I come from a creative background. I was in fine arts and graphic design, and I love the creative aspect of what we do. And because I'm so passionate about the creative side, I want a bigger pool of patients initially so that I can create the optimal treatment program for those patients. And then the patient has the freedom to decide, you know what, I don't want to change my lifestyle. I don't want the nutritional stuff. I don't want education about those other things and other services. I just want what Medicare will pay. Okay, Mrs. Jones, that is awesome. That is, well within your right. There's a clinic 2 miles down the street. Go there. They will do another evaluation. They will get you set up. They will provide only what Medicare pays for. John is an associate. I know him well. He's going to take a great care of you. But if you decide that that's not what you want and you want the rest of the stuff that we have to offer here, absolutely come on back. We have a bunch of patients that do that. They go to receive the in-network services down the road, and then they come to me for the stuff that the other clinic doesn't offer. The thing is, like, logically, you start to understand, I can't be a high volume, low cost provider and provide a premium experience. right? You don't walk into a restaurant that has a $1.99 hamburger and sells an $80 premium, aged steak. Those two don't go together under the same roof. So you make your decision where you're gonna be, and you stick with it. But like I always say, if you think of the bell curve, we want to be on the extremes. We want to be high value, high cost, $500, $1,000, for a plan of care and all of the other services, or we want to be down here at the low end, like 10, 15, $20, group therapy sessions, that kind of stuff. We don't want to be in the middle 80% of the bell curve. All right, guys. I hope that helps some people. Probably brought up more questions than answers, but like always, send me your questions. I'll produce new content, new videos. In the meantime, it's Monday. I've got some new patients on the schedule I need to get ready for. Guys, I'll catch you later.